Hi, Leather Rock here. Welcome to my channel. And I guess I could show you my tabby boy right here. Oh, because I'm going to have to wash my hands anyway, since I'm getting ready to fix dinner. And I figured I might as well make it live. And no, the cat's safe. I'm not going to eat my tabby boy. You're not amused, are you? Oh, so come with me into the kitchen so I can wash my hands and I can get started. And I think I don't know if I'm going to bring the cord in there yet. I'll bring it there later. But follow me. So, no, don't worry. This is not turning into a cooking channel or anything like this. This is my channel. And what more important probably should you showcase than the things that you love? And everybody has to eat, and the only time I'm ever going to showcase food is food that is the best that I think. So anyway, what I'm about to cook for you is an old family recipe that's not from my family, but it's from family friends who have been dead many, many years. But it's something that my mother learned how to make and I learned how to make, and ingredients can be switched around depending on what you have on hand. And for this, I'm going to need any kind of potatoes and any kind of sausage and green pepper and onions. And that's pretty much it. And I have all that. So what I have by way of sausage, I have some hot Italian sausage by Hatfield. And that's a good brand. Now, sometimes with hot sausages, you don't know, and it's actually too hot. And it's a good idea to have half hot and half sweet sausage, unless you know that the hot sausage is not too hot. And for potatoes, and yesterday, I did not have more than a few potatoes until last night. Then all of a sudden, I came into potatoes, and you could see I have some nice, fairly thin-skinned ones, and I don't peel potatoes usually. Most of the vitamins are in the potato peels, and if you peel the potatoes, you're getting rid of most of your vitamins, and that makes no sense unless they're really, really, really bad. And you can take the bad parts off. Obviously, if something has a rotten part on it, you're going to cut that out. But please don't peel your potatoes unless you like not having nutritious food. Plus, I think potato skins add a little something extra to the flavor. So, and this is the sausage I'm going to show you. And this I also got yesterday, and I thought that was really wonderful. And I didn't know that I was going to do a cooking live stream until literally a couple of hours ago. Oh, and we have aluminum foil also. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean a bunch of onions. How many you or how much of how many potatoes? How many potatoes you need really depends on how many you're cooking for. I'm only cooking for my mother and myself, but I don't mind having leftovers. And I'm using a pan that I oftentimes use to bake cakes. And I never stop to think of how big it is, but it's a normal baking pan that you can use not only for cakes but for casseroles. I was at first going to use a Pyrex glass because it looked a little bit cleaner. Not that any of them are dirty, but this has obviously been in use for a while. And it shouldn't really matter what it looked like as long as it gets the job done. Plus, with Pyrex and with Corningware, a lot of times you have to adjust your heat and do it 25 degrees lower. And this, as it is, calls for a 375-degree oven. But I'm not going to preheat it just yet. So I don't know how long it's going to take. I thought I was going to have to cut the onions, but then I saw that there are some sliced onions already in the freezer. And there's already green peppers cut in the freezer. So the only thing that I'm going to have to really prepare is scrubbing and slicing the potatoes, and I'm going to have to cut the sausage, but the sausage is at almost room temperature. So I don't need to fiddle around with going through defrosting and all that stuff. So since I don't know how many of these I'm going to wash, I'm just going to get started, and I'm just going to scrub. And I'm looking at the trees that I see have buds on them already. If I can find my vegetable seeds, I should get started. A lot of growers already have seedlings. I still have those lentil seedlings, and I have, yeah, that's about it. Since the tomato died, all I have are the lentil seedlings. I hope the running water doesn't make it hard to hear. Yeah, I don't usually use soap on potatoes, but I thought I saw something slimy and rotten. It did come off with the brush, and I draw the line at slimy and rotten. That's just not good. And when I got these potatoes, I didn't take a look at them. I just had a knife somewhere. Oh, here it is. The only steak knife we have left. You know what? I'm getting the trash closer in here. I think some of these potatoes are might not be so nice. So if that's the case, then there might not be uh, peels on everything, because if something's yucky, I'm not gonna mess with it. Okay, the rest of this looks decent. Okay, as I get them clean, I'm gonna put them in this sort of set aside. And I didn't stop to think about how many that I would need, because at first I thought I was just going to quarter them. And then I remembered most of the time they were sliced. I haven't made this in probably 3 or 4 years. But it's something that I've made in New Jersey, and it's something I've made in California. And it's something I've made for different sets of roommates, and everybody always liked it. This looks like it has a few bad spots on it. I hope this doesn't add too much time to this, but I thought if I just showed you a pile of slices of potatoes, there wouldn't be a whole lot of context. Because you can't easily, I'm sure a lot of people can't easily tell what a pile of slices looks like, how many potatoes that would be, depending on the size. You know, I think some things you actually have to see to eyeball, unless you're really, really, really experienced. The great thing about this recipe is the sausage gives enough flavor to the potatoes, so you don't need to mess around with any seasonings except for salt and maybe a little bit of black pepper. But you might not really even need that. And Hatfield is a good sausage company. They make all kinds of pork products, and my family and I have eaten Hatfield products for years. So I'm surprised it's not raining now. I thought it was supposed to rain really hard today. I would have these set aside to put in the compost pile, but the little one I have here in the house only has coffee grounds in it, and I really don't want to attract bugs. And as of right now, I'm not 100% sure whether I'm going to be transferring plants to the community garden plot. I remember what a hassle it was last year getting there when I felt barricaded in my own home by the kinds of people that were hanging out front and stuff, and I felt like I couldn't even, no matter how I went and how I disguised myself with whatever. I felt like I couldn't get out of here to tend my plants. And then before, what I always did was I brought a bunch of empty, I bought a bunch of water jugs of different sizes, and I transported them using uh, a laundry cart. And that can be kind of awkward going up and down steps and wading through the neighborhood riffraff and trying to not be obvious and carrying leaking water jugs on wheels. It's kind of, that's pretty obvious. I'm guessing this is enough here. So I'm going to put this back in here. I want to show off this container here for potatoes. This is older than I am. My mother got this at a place called Bargain John's or John's Bargain Store. And this is before they made things out of recycled plastic. So this was made to last. She paid 59 cents for it. And this thing is, we consider it a family heirloom, even though it's just plastic. But it's really sturdy. It can hold at least 10, 15 pounds of potatoes. And keeps them out of light. And it blends in with the wood that it's kept in. And it's one of these things that doesn't look like much, but is definitely associated with my family. So, and you know what? I'm getting thirsty, so I'm going to go find my cup. I'm going to pour myself some tea. I'm going to find out where it is, though. Okay, I found my cup. There's some crazy guy yelling outside saying, "This is our neighborhood. This is how we live." I don't know what the hell is going on there. I don't want to say I'm used to there being crazy outside, but there shouldn't be. It's really kind of sad that sometimes you see people who genuinely need help and people just step over them, and people you think would be in the business of helping people aren't even trying to help some people. That's just something I'm observing. Like, I saw a woman yesterday who was sitting in one spot for hours and hours and hours and hours, and she had a bunch of groceries she'd gotten from someplace. And she was sitting there and sitting there and sitting there, and all these people kept coming and going, and not one person stopped to help her, to ask her if there was anything she needed. And these were people that were, I know for a fact, were affiliated with different social service agencies, and some of them were affiliated with different churches and things, and they did not stop to help her. And she finally left, and she left most of her things there, and she left all kinds of groceries that were perishables and things, and she didn't have a place. She had things, frozen foods that needed to be put someplace that she left behind. I ended up tearing open some packages of meat and throwing them around where I see cats and dogs running around, so that animals eat things. Obviously, if something's been sitting around all day, you don't want to take chances with it, but I want to make sure at least animals get to eat. But those people just step over human beings here. One time, a couple of years ago, there was a man that was passed out on a corner, and I passed by, and I couldn't tell whether he was dead or not. And I don't have a cell phone. I had no way of contacting anybody. And the people just walked over and stepped over this person. And I was on my way to go to a concert. And I never did find out what happened, except by the time I came home, he wasn't where I had seen him. But people will totally step over human beings and whatever they're doing is more important than the fact that this person may be dying, and So, okay, I am going to, now that I have my teacup, I am going to pour myself some tea. I'm really thirsty. I don't usually drink hot things when I'm thirsty, but it's here, and I'm thirsty now, so I'm going to drink this. I hope whoever that is yelling isn't going to be yelling at me. I really am thinking of having this studio light. It's one of those kind of lights that you know to be quiet when the light's on, but I know darn well if I have it in the window, it's just going to attract attention, and I really don't want people that live around here knowing that I'm making these videos and things. Sometimes I almost start to mention it, and then I bite my tongue and change the subject. I really am trying to keep a low profile, and that's not easy. I'm always tying my hair up and hiding it under hats and things. Yeah, see. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is, this was a really great spray container. This used to have Pam Superior No Stick cooking oil spray, and it was just olive oil. It said, it basically, I don't think it's too much more than just olive oil, and it may have something else put in it to make it a little bit thinner. And it's in one of these really thick spray containers, and we have been just putting plain old olive oil in this. And I'm going to use that to spray this so that I don't use a whole lot of fat. And the thing is, I hardly need any fat right now anyway, since obviously lots of fat is going to drip down from the meat, all that sausage. I don't understand that yelling. You know what? I'm going to stick my head out the window. I'm going to see what I can see. Do you hear that lunatic? Do you hear that lunatic? What a damn idiot. I just went outside and there was this man. He just looks like a deranged escapee of a mosque, actually, is what he looks like, but I don't believe that is his persuasion. And he's bellowing at the top of his lungs something about this neighborhood or whatever, and if his intention is to draw attention to certain negative aspects of living in an urban environment like this, I don't know what he hopes to achieve at 7:05 p.m. on a Thursday. Really, what does he hope to achieve? A lot. So, first thing I have to do, I have this oiled lightly. First thing I have to do is slice these potatoes. And I'm just going to go ahead and slice them and try not to lose any fingers in the process. Normally when I have sliced potatoes like that, they're about a 1/4 inch thick, something like that. The most important thing is that they're roughly equal size so that you can tell when everything's done. I'm going to actually put this on the back burner kind of so that you can see this. I don't understand why he's doing this. You know, you know what I wish? I wish somebody around here would call the police and complain. Because I get the feeling that the people that have the least respect at all are the people that live someplace. That, especially in this day and age with all these people working from home and things and all these neighborhoods being mixed use neighborhoods, who's to say that a lot of people might not be doing podcasting or filming different kinds of things? And when you have somebody doing what this idiot's doing, he's really creating a public disturbance. He's being rude and he's being boorish, and I don't know what kind of reaction he hopes to get. Does he want people to honk their horns when they're driving? Because he seems like he's only yelling at traffic. I mean, he doesn't seem quite like he's up to the task of playing in traffic. I get the feeling that part of what he's about is some kind of serious religious zealotry. But even so, that said, what's that going to get him? So many churches around here are doing some really shystery things. I think it's to get federal tax dollars, especially with all this stuff now that we have Democrats are in charge. They're trying to get people to put their last 4 digits of their social security numbers on forms when they get handouts and things. And, you know, who the heck gives up that kind of information? Especially for a couple of sandwiches or whatever it is they're giving out. I mean, just... And then asking people to grab a pen and write these things down. And I didn't see any hand sanitizer or anything. That's a real comfort there. Yeah, these are going to definitely not be perfect. But what I'm going to do is as I cut these, I'm going to arrange these in a layer, I guess 2 or 3 layer stack all the way to cover the bottom of that. And so that's the first thing I'm going to do. And yeah, hopefully I'll have this done before midnight. And right now, for frame of reference, it's 7:11 p.m. And of course, I'm holding the knife in a way that would just absolutely cut my hand, slice it off. So, but this will definitely be wonderful when it's ready. And it's interesting, the potatoes take longer to cook actually than the sausage. But if these potatoes are thin enough, then they won't take long. And I know I'm supposed to be using a cutting board, but then it'd be harder to see. See, I'd like to do it this thick, but then I get the feeling that the other ends are half as soft, the thickness. So, but as long as it's covered with foil on the top, that'll keep things from drying out. It would really save time if you use one of those things that automatically sliced each potato in 6 slices or whatever. I would recommend if you had something like that. And the thing is, I think we do have different kinds of slicers in that cabinet, but then anything fancy you use like that, then you have to clean the blades and, you know. So, I don't know why I thought that all I had to do was quarter these. This is making me think maybe I'm going to need to scrub up another potato. and Richard Knight's here. Oh, I have to tell my mother this. Hold on a second. All right. Richard, Mom says hello. This is something my father liked a lot. I've got 1 1/3 potato left. I think I actually did a good job judging this. Too bad I don't have a camera set up above. Of course, if I had 2 cameras set up, then I would have to. I don't know how you would possibly coordinate something like that with a live stream. Okay, last half the potato. These. Okay, so as soon as I get this last bit sliced, I'm gonna wash my hands, and then I'm going to give a lift up to the computer so that you guys can see what this looks like so far. Okay. Okay, this is the potatoes right here. Now I'm going to take some plain salt here, and I'm going to shake this over the top of this, and then I'm going to get my hand on this, and I'm going to there's some more salt. I hope that that is distributed. Now here's the next thing I'm going to do after I get a sip. My goodness, I'm thirsty. Okay, now we need some onions. And the last time I got a bunch of onions, I sliced a bunch of them and put them in the freezer just for times like this. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to arrange a layer on top of these. And these are sliced really thin. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to try to make this as even as possible. And of course, with onions in it, you know, kiddies can't have this. Maybe if you took the onions off the piece that you're giving them. But then again, if the sausage is really hot, your cats might not want this anyway. If you like the smell of onion. Now you could either layer this, or you can mix this in between pieces. That's something else you could do. There's no right or wrong ways to do it. I mean, once you get it on your plate, you're going to be mixing things anyway. Now we get the green pepper. And I think each one of these bags might be a half a green pepper here. Just your, or you can use red ones, the sweet bell peppers you use here. And the way I always saw it, they were arranged in strips. And you should really be generous with them, because peppers are good for you. Another. I think I need to bring this closer so you can see what this looks like so far. I'm going to get out the other bag, and I'm going to line here. And you put them, and it's okay that they're still kind of frozen because that oven is going to take care of this. Now I'm going to put this back on the coffee maker, and I'm going to get another package of this green peppers. And yeah, okay. Cover all the way with these green peppers. And you know what? If there's some ice crystals on here, just go ahead and shake it on here. Now I'm gonna dry off my hands here, and then I want to bring this on so you can see what this looks like here. Now this is where I'm going to have to put the computer someplace, and I'm going to have to leave it alone because when I get it to where I got to get it, I can't be touching this with meat on my hands. So let me see where I'm going to. Let me see. You know, this would be. Let me see. Let's see if you can see. I gotta be able to. No. This would be. No, that you couldn't see that. Darn. Let me see. Well. Okay, I'm going to see what maybe you can see from this. Okay, I'm going to wash my hands again. And now I've got a cat near my feet, and she just must smell something good. And I think now is about time to preheat this oven too. So I'm going to do the 375. Okay. Now, I'm going to get that knife. I'm going to rinse off the starch. And this is where I get to cut the sausage. And since I want to be able to have sausage so that it has, it can cover this, but in case it's too hot and I need to sweeten it up, I have some plain pork patties here that were frozen, and I just thawed them out in the toaster oven. But I'm going to go at, I hope you guys can see me. I'm going to cut this. This is a nice long, look at this. I've got a snake. Okay. Oh, great. We've got a fly here. So I'm going to cut this in approximately 4-inch lengths. And so because it has a casing on it, I'm going to cut it sideways like this. And I don't think I have to cut it all the way off, but I will. And what you do is you can put it face down or face up. It doesn't really matter. I would say skin side up so that everything drips down and all the fat from this will soften up your potatoes real nice. Oh yeah, you wish, Cass. I have something good for you. Yeah. I feel like such an idiot talking to her knowing she can't hear. Yeah, it almost doesn't matter how you put this stuff on, so long as you get it on. And if I had sweet sausage and the hot sausage, I would just alternate it. Hot, sweet, hot, sweet, hot, sweet. Growing up, it was my father that had the sensitive stomach, so my mother and I would eat the hotter things, and my father and my brother would eat the milder things. And I do have to admit that through the years, I've become a little bit more sensitive to the hottest of things. The things that I remember eating in high school, these hot pepper eating contests that I would have with my mother. And, or maybe they just have hotter peppers now. I mean, so much is different through the years. I've noticed beans that in Hollywood I remember taking all day to cook now can be done in 2 or 3 hours. Beans that I thought was the same kind of bean too. It just really tripped me out. I'm glad that guy stopped yelling. There we go. All right. I do want to get this computer off this stove. All right. Now I'm just going to tear these up and put this amongst this, just wherever. but I would definitely make sure that all the raw sausage totally gets to cover all the potatoes so that the juices from the meat cook up the potatoes. Trying to do this quickly so that I can get my computer off this stove. Okay. One thing I always do, anything that's touched meat, I wash that right away. I don't mess around with meat, raw meat germs. I'm going to dry my hands so that I can get this computer off of here. Okay, this is what this sausage and potatoes looks like right now. I am going to find something that can enable me to not touch. Okay, I'm going to use this spoon here, and I'm going to make sure that anything that needs like it, yeah, that looks like it needs meat on it, has meat on it. Okay, good. I'm going to put this back here. Please, computer, don't fall. Now, got the aluminum foil, and I'm going to tint this. And look at how big the thing is. Make it a little bit bigger. And this would be such a great picture if I had another camera that I really was good at using. Take a picture of this before it goes in the heat thing. In the oven. A little young Bisani like our president. There, I did a pretty good seal on this. Now I'm going to I don't know why my screen's freezing like this. Hello? Okay, I don't know why my screen is freezing. Hello? Hello? Okay, can you guys see me okay? Did you see what I just did here? The screen looked like it froze. So I don't know if you got to see what I did or not. But in case you didn't, here. Did you see what it looks like? I'm not going to unten it, but this is, okay, 375 degree oven. And there's not an exact time on this. It's done when it's done. So, you know what? There's a few things that need to go back in the freezer. I better put them in the freezer now. Such as the green peppers and the onions. Starting to, I'm tempted to say it's starting to smell good in here, but really how could it? Ooh, want to see a little local ambiance? See the mood lighting that we have. The very special mood lighting, courtesy of Atlantic City Police Department, our finest. And they are taking a bite out of crime as we speak. Arr. And that's fine by me. Oh, and I just heard incidentally that they just hired, didn't you say they just hired a bunch more police department? 15,000? 15 men. Oh, 15 men. All right, 15,000. That would be nice. Imagine 15,000 new police. I would be very, very in support of that. Especially since here certain things are legal now, you know? So right now I'm going to plug my computer back in because it's down to 45%. That my food doesn't cook any faster just because I'm watching it. And you want to know something? I'm actually kind of overheated now. Boy. See my fan? The reason why the fan stretched over to here, I was turning that on just as a way to blot out some of the noise. And I'm looking for a place to set this so I can. I hope you can still hear me, but oh, hot, hot, hot. Oh, I want to show you a new brand of chips I just discovered. Well, I've heard of them before. The company's called Garden of Eaton. And when I saw these at first, I thought these would be way too hot because it says Red Hot Blues. And I've had those so-called Red Hot chips, and usually those you can have a handful of them and then you're done for a while. But these, I'm going to show you the color of these. Matter of fact, let me bring this back up near the wall. We'll show colors better. This is an interesting color, these chips. Whenever you get tortilla chips that are made with dark corns like this, there's more antioxidants in them. So technically they're better for you. But the thing I will say about this brand is these are kind of heavier chips, and they are hard and they are gritty. And if you have any cracks in your teeth or anything, they will get in your teeth and they will be an issue. But they're really good. And as far as the nutrition things go, the only thing that has anything appreciable in it is you have 8% of your daily iron, and that is if your serving size is 1 ounce. And I don't know anybody that confines themselves to only 1 ounce of potato chips, but that's what they consider to be a serving size. Now, if these chips were not so hard and extremely crunchy, they probably would have been eaten by now. If I had my druthers, I would like a chip that's a bit thinner and not problematic for chewing. And there are some chips that don't have quite enough salt to them, but then I suppose that would be really ideal if you're using something really salty to dip them in. But if you're going to eat them just as is, then I think chips do need a certain amount of salt. And those chips are fine eating by themselves because they actually have like taco seasoning in them without cheese. And that's the one thing I cannot stand is I don't do cheese. So now that I'm sitting here, I think I better have a fan on me. I think I might indulge in a little smoke inhalation, but I'm not going to do it on camera because I don't want to piss off the YouTube algorithm. It has this basically this robot that sniffs our content and anything objectionable, you know. And the thing is that live streaming, it still sees everything that we're doing, and you know, big tech and its censorship and stuff. It's just really not the sort of thing that you can take for granted. Aspects of free speech and stuff is just not something that you can assume that you have. I'm going to lower this fan somewhat. And I'm going to go back to the stove and I'm going to light a candle and I'm going to be right back. Oh, I'm just letting it bake right now. Okay, I'm back. And I got my candle. And my battery is at 48%, but it's plugged in here for a while, so I think I need to add some more to my device. I'm going to show you. It's going to be good coffee. Good coffee. Looking for my guitar pick. Hold on a second. Everyone. Okay. I'm really when I'm thinking about the shopping that I'm still contemplating doing, I have to probably get a replacement for this computer sooner as opposed to later. I'm noticing it's taking longer and longer for certain things to show up, like when I try to turn the camera on, it's not instantaneous anymore, and it's not like this is an old machine. It's barely even two. But I need a reliable Windows machine so that I can produce content and so that I can edit. It's a good thing that doing live streaming is a very easy process that doesn't involve any editing, at least not unless you want to edit it after the stream itself. But it's really good that it's something that it's an option for people that don't have a lot of memory in their computers or their hard drives or something, or if they have a device that doesn't have a hard drive. Live streaming is really wonderful because it doesn't use up resources, and then you always have the option to download your live streams back when you get equipment that can download. So that's really great. And it doesn't require a big learning curve. I actually dumbed onto it. I thought that I was going to have to wait to get the right kind of software, and I thought I was going to have to pick some out and learn how to use it and everything, and only to find out that right built into the computer itself and built into the back end of YouTube, live streaming is easy, and it's such a convenient way to communicate with the world and another way to produce content. So I'm really glad to have that option at my disposal. And I found that live streaming is something that you get more and more comfortable with, just like any kind of public speaking or any kind of improvisational. It's something that you really get comfortable the more you do it. And I'm really enjoying the whole thing. I see my tally boy. I see my tally boy. I hope the smell of this food's making our neighbors jealous. It's now 7:59 p.m. Maybe in a few minutes I should check the meat and potatoes and see what it's looking like. Get this light in here. Okay. Now usually I blow the smoke out the window, but I didn't do it this time, so it's smelling kind of skunky in here. So I'm going to break out the incense. And I don't like stick incense for the most part because it just smells papery. It doesn't smell very fragrant. So I'm going to use my charcoal. I'm going to burn the real stuff. And this particular stuff, I usually get this in Washington, D.C. There's really nice people that have stores there. And I just feel better supporting them. The only places I know that sell it here, they, based on the other kind of things that they sell, I don't think that I would want to do business with them. And I'll leave it at that. So I'm going to put this back. I'm trying to find, oh, okay. See, I got my scissors here. And I got this. And I'm going to, well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my bud safely someplace. Then I'm going to take this, whoops. Alright. I'm going to take this and my scissors. I'm going to take it to the stove and I'm going to light it and I'm going to bring it right back. Okay, I got it. Alright. That's that damn ice cream man. I don't understand why the ice cream guy has to play the same music. It gets an earworm and it gets stuck in my head and it drives me batshit. It's so fucking annoying. I think in California they play La Cucaracha or something. But here it's the same old thing. And they don't sell good ice cream. They sell that soft, squishy stuff. They don't sell the hard, interesting stuff. And what I hate is when they stay in one place for a long time and you hear it over and over and over and over and over. And it's like, can't you just go in traffic or something? And I should be happy that the guy is doing business, obviously. The fact that anybody's making any money now. We still have a pandemic going on. So I'm happy for him having money and stuff, but it's still annoying. Oh, I just spilled a bunch of my brushes. Okay, so I need to put something on this charcoal. I just saw, oh, here it is. And right now, I'm going for something that has a really strong fragrance. And I'm going to use something that I don't know how many of you have even heard of. It's called Copal. Copal. And I got this from Olvera Street in Los Angeles, the actual birthplace of Los Angeles. And when I was in Los Angeles and attending the Day of the Dead ceremonies, that's always on November 1st and November 2nd. They have a lot of the ceremonies throughout Mexico, but obviously in El Pueblo de Los Angeles, Olvera Street. And if you ever have a chance to see the public altars that these families have, you should definitely go for it. So this is Copal burning on my charcoal. And there's all kinds of resins that you can burn on charcoal. And many of them smell quite amazing and might smell familiar to you as something that you've smelled in a temple or a church or a synagogue before. There are special recipes of all kinds of these resins that you can burn and mix them with roots and leaves. A lot of leaves, though, for the most part, when you burn them, they really don't smell very good. Like rose petals, that's an ingredient in some herbal preparations. And rose petals, when they burn, it doesn't smell very good. It doesn't smell like roses at all. But you want to get a fragrance like this, a resin is the way to go. Now, copal smells very similar to frankincense. And I have all kinds of frankincense, all different packages I've gotten of it through the years. And now I understand it's considered quite valuable. We keep on destroying natural habitats where we have rainforests, and there's certain regions in the earth that some herbs only grow in specific places. And there is such a thing as a responsible herb and spice trade that if it isn't necessary to use real things, like there's reasons where synthetics are perfectly acceptable, but for occult purposes, synthetics are for the most part useless, unless, okay, and generally speaking, things can behave as named, and you can use something to symbolize something else all the time. As a matter of fact, that is called sympathetic magic. So people use substitutes all the time. If you have, say, a really old recipe for some obnoxiously obscene or poisonous ingredients, like eye of a specific species of animal, for instance, or body parts of, never mind. Obviously, you would want to have a humane substitute, and you can do something as easy as carving a symbol out of a piece of wood or using certain leaves of certain plants. But there's substitutions are perfectly acceptable. But generally speaking, synthetics are frowned upon. And a lot of times people get allergic reactions to synthetic things. But just because something's natural doesn't mean it's automatically going to be safe either. People get allergic reactions to natural essential oils all the time. And many oils are actually too strong to be directly touching the skin. So it's important to use a carrier oil to dilute things. Certain oils can actually burn the skin, and you can give yourself a contact dermatitis very easily. And some of these oils that are great to burn on something to get a fragrance or anoint a candle with, if you put them on the skin, some people can, if they don't get an allergic reaction, it can make them more sensitive to the sun. It can make them more sensitive to other things. It can make them just more sensitive generally. So that is something you definitely should be aware of. I'm going to move this back here. Now, I think it's time to smoke one more bowl. And now I want to check on the meat and the potatoes. I want to make sure that the sausage is fully cooked because that is from the raw state. I want to make sure the potatoes are well done. And they were cut, they were sliced pretty thin, so it shouldn't take too long. Okay, gotta find my. Oh, here it is. My ashtray. Okay, where's that guitar? Hmm. Wonder how that stuff's coming along. I was going to get a little bit more of this. Oh, here's a Hollywood souvenir. One of my favorite places is in West Hollywood. It's called the Rainbow Bar and Grill. This is the rock star hangout. It's on Sunset Strip, right next to the Roxy. I had so many dreams come true in this place. Probably a few I might not even remember. But, this was the place. I'm telling you. There was a time when I would go there 4 nights a week. And 5 nights a week even. That was just, yeah. Man, I love that place. Um, yeah, after I do this, I think it will be time to go and check on dinner. Let me get a little fire going here. I don't want to cough too loud, okay? I don't think I need to be advertising, you know. Now, I think it might be time to check on dinner. Right now, I'm gonna hopefully no kitty's gonna knock that off. This Cassie, she really she gets kind of devilish sometimes. Okay, close this. Oh, speaking of, oh, look who I got. Oh, I saw you, devilish. Oh, this is my Cassie girl. Oh, yes. Look who I got. I got Cassie girl. She is my kitty world with my tabby boy. Hey, don't get your dirty paws on me. Oh, no, I don't want your gungy bungees. I don't want your gungy bungees. No, 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 no. She's so pretty. She's so pretty. Oh, my baby. Mm, my baby. Mm. Oh, yes. I am going to put this on the coffee maker. Okay. Stick this coffee maker so that it's sticking out a little bit. I really don't like it. I don't like the computer sticking out over the edge. Okay. Hand wash time. I really love weed. Weed is to life like salt is to food. I kind of stealing this from Steven Tyler. He wasn't talking about weed specifically, but he was talking about drugs. He says that drugs add to life what salt adds to food. But he said it better than I said it. That said, I don't want to get cavalier about the subject of drugs. But cannabis is an herb, and I believe it adds enjoyment and some enhancements to my life. And it has medicinal benefits. So I'm pretty convinced that it's good for me. Now I'm going to dry my hands off, and I'm going to try to stay away from cute pussy cats, because I got to go and take a look at this food. It is now almost Now, 18 minutes after 8. Let's see what this. Where do I see? I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. Okay. Oh, this is no. I'm tempted to say this is nowhere near done, but I want you to see what it looks like. Would it be better if I moved it more to the center of the stove so that it looks shinier or something? Or should I bring this to you? I don't want to dump this, you know what I mean? I'm going to show this to my mother. Hold on. Oh, that was the sound of a cat that almost got kicked. Okay, my mother says it has at least another 30 minutes to go. But this is what it looks like so far. I'm going to put the foil back on it. Back. Oh, okay. Now, let's go back into my room. Let's look at the clock. And wait a minute. Now, let's look at the cat. Cassie. My Cassie girl. My Cassie girl. Okay. Alright. We're back in my room. Come on. Don't argue. This cat is being difficult. Okay. I wish you could see what the cat was doing. But she's being difficult. Get in there. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to put this back down in here. And then I'm going to plug this back in here. Then I'm going to grab Cassie because she's being ridiculous. Okay. Because Cassie is being ridiculous. So I'm going to grab that cat. What's your problem, man? I want to know what your problem is. What's your problem? Oh, oh, oh. This girl's got problems. She's ridiculous. She's ridiculous. I love her so much, but this cat is ridiculous. This cat's ridiculous. Talking back to her is ridiculous. It's futile because she can't hear. So she feels she always gets the last word. And boy, if she's thinking, you put me down, you put me down, you put me down, and she's getting more and more pissed off, and I'm obviously ignoring her. Hey, oh, look who's here. Oh, my tabby boy. My cuddly tabby boy. Oh, my tabby boy. Look at my sweetheart. This is my sweetheart. Oh, I got my sweetheart. No, you squirmy worms. You outweigh her by like 4 times. Oh, now stop that. Hey, stop that. Come on now. Oh, boy. And I want this to be shut. You gonna be good? Huh? You gonna be good? You be good. You gonna be good. You gonna be a good cat. My good cat. This is my tabby. Oh. Mmm. Mmm. You know how much I love my cat? You know how much I love my cat? Oh. I love my cat. I love my kitty. Yes, I love my kitty. What's the matter? What's the matter? You losing patience with me? Okay, I'm putting you down. When it turns the purr off, I think that's proof that they're losing patience. So, bye bye, kitty. Bye bye, kitty. He's like, I'm blowing this popsicle stand. So it is now 8:27 p.m. And so we got a half hour or so to wait for that to. I'm wondering if I shouldn't have done one more potato or not. I don't know. I feel like the pan was a little bit bigger than the pan I used before. And the thing is that I use, as my measuring guide, I used a pot that was totally different size, and so I'm using different visuals. So it was interesting. This was not like doing the spaghetti and clams recipe that I have done so much, so frequently. I mean, it's not like I don't know how to do this, but knowing how to do something and then doing something that you haven't done in 10 years, and not only that, but doing it on camera, live, where you really don't have room for screwing up. And I didn't do any preparation except for getting my ingredients out. I didn't write up the list of bullet points. I consulted with my mother about a few things because there were a few details that I may have forgotten through the years. Like, I don't know why I was thinking of cutting potato in quarters. Now I realize that it would take so much longer to cook if I did it that way. I'm used to doing the quarters when I make my Indian potatoes, which is another thing that I'm going to do in future videos, just because it's something that my mother and I both love a lot, and was actually a recipe that I came up with before I had access to all the spices that we can get now, since there are so many markets that cater to all these immigrant populations, and you can find all kinds of brands and forms of spices you're familiar with and spices that maybe you're not familiar with, but the different recipes call for. So it's really kind of cool that there are options that you can find ingredients for recipes, even the recipes you'll find in Martha Stewart magazines. And I don't know what it is with her magazines, she seems to find, her recipe seems to almost always find that one ingredient that even when you can go shop in these different markets catering to this culture and that culture, they have all these different specific ingredients for different cuisines and whatever, and yet you're there, you have to probably order it online or something. And I know a lot of people that buy their groceries and stuff on the internet and everything, but I still, as much as I love to shop on the internet, I like to get food and things like food. I like to get that in person. I think, how are you going to get the best deals, especially the things that I do as a shopper, like going to finding out where, if there's a clearance section right away, if there's a bakery section, if there's a day old section right away, going to the those things save so much money and allows you to sometimes experiment and really end up widening your gustatory adventurous palate. And you're not going to be so likely to take chances on things that are expensive, I'm sure. But um, I can't tell you how many things that I that were first $1, oh what the hells, and ended up becoming lifelong loves because I took a chance. So yeah, and food is something that we all have to eat to live, but and you don't know how long your life's going to be, so you should have as much quality as possible. So why not eat the foods that you love? And if the foods that you love are reasonably healthy, and that is part of the reason why I've decided to show a little bit of my cooking on my channel. I don't want it to be obviously a food focused channel. It's one of the things I'm so terrified about with eating is I'm so afraid of losing shape, gaining weight, and if I didn't have fitness to fall back on. And I just, it's something I've always been afraid of. So that's kind of colored my relationship with food. And there are times when I will very often wait to film until uh, and wait to eat until after I film so that I look good for filming. And by the time I finally eat, I am so hungry, but because I know that uh, if I eat more than a couple of mouthfuls, my stomach gets big on camera and I feel like I really don't look my best. Uh, and since my filming a lot of times is what I arrange my life around, occasionally I arrange my filming around my life, but for the most part, my life I arrange around my filming. That way I can always keep to my schedule and always have content, and not always, sometimes when you have content to produce and you have something to post, you just end up posting whatever it is you have available. But it's really nice to have options. I much prefer to have options. I had a choice of two videos that I could have posted, or I could have gone live today. And I said to myself, I really would rather go live because I wasn't ready to hit the subject stuff yet. I wanted to go and do something live. And when I came into the sausage and the potatoes yesterday, I thought, oh, that's almost a sign from Providence that I have to do this. This is something that's a beloved family recipe, and it's real comfort food. And it's sometimes all you have is mild sausage. That's fine. Sometimes the hot sausage is not particularly hot sausage, and you can use just that. Sometimes the hot sausage you get is truly really hot sausage, and you absolutely must cut it with something mild. That's why I said that if you don't have sweet sausage, go ahead and do what I did and get some plain uh, sausage. I don't know that I would even call them sausage patties, but I would call them pork patties. They're supposed to be pre-seasoned, but I know is they're not hot. So definitely that's a great way to stretch out, just to have it so that it has this nice, not too hot mix. And the green peppers really, I probably, in retrospect, I wonder if maybe I shouldn't have put a little bit more on there. But the whole idea is every mouthful, you get some potato, some green pepper, some onions, and some sausage. And it's quite wonderful. It really is. And there's a lady who I was raised to call an aunt. She was a neighbor. She was this little old lady and a matriarch of a fine family, and they happened to live next door and a couple of doors down from my mother when she had just brought me home from the hospital. And my mother was a new mother, and her husband, my father, was working hard most nights. So it was really great that my mother had this network of people that ended up being longtime family friends until they died. And so when I cook things like this that I associate with those people, and my mother and I were having a talk earlier today about how I said, when you cook food that you associate with somebody that maybe you got the recipe from them initially, I said, you feel that when you're cooking them and eating them, you're honoring that person. And so she said, well, definitely you can't make that meal without thinking about the person. That's so much like the clothes that I wear that were given to me by my friends that I associate with really happy memories that I made wearing them. And every time I pick out certain dresses out of my closet, I'll look at them and I'll remember, oh, this is my friend from LA gave this to me, and it was X number of birthdays ago, and I remember that I wore it to the Motley Crue concert, and I wore it to go to this adventure, and I remember I wore it to this party, and I remember the photo shoot that I wore that at. And so, and those make the clothes even more special because of the memories you attach to them and the people that you attach to them. And sure, food can be like that. Now, the thing is with things like spaghetti and clams, that in the beginning was something that I probably only had 4 or 5 times a year, because it would be something most people's birthday that would be the meal, and then sometimes Mother's Day and Father's Day. Uh, but then as I got older and I got able to make it myself, then it became one of those go to beloved meals that, unless, of course, I had a problem with getting canned clams. For a while there, canned clams were so ridiculously high. And if it was getting to the point where it was like $1.89 a can, it's like my father would say, hit the bricks. Or depending on who was around, he'd say, get the fuck out of here. Of course, he couldn't say that at the dinner table because my mother did the F word. That didn't fly. But yeah, but sometimes you'll find them at the 99-cent store. I found them at Dollar Tree last month. One time I was glad I brought extra change there and everything. I got 6 cans of clams there one time. With places like Dollar Tree and the 99-cent store, you have to just accept that week to week things can be different. Even if you have different branches of a Dollar Tree within a similar geographical area, they might not all have the same stuff. So it's good to be prepared if there's something really, really special and it's an extremely good deal on there. If you can arrange and get that thing, you know. But a lot of times, though, with Dollar Tree, I've noticed that the quantity of food is really not good. Let's use for an example the frosting for chocolate cake. They had the same brand as I saw at Walgreens, which was Betty Crocker, and at Dollar Tree it was 8 ounces, a little 8 ounce tub. It was obviously a little thing, 4.99 cents. And when I was at Walgreens trying to get stuff for, the baking supplies for my chocolate chip cookies and things. I also wanted to get the cake frosting. I already have a couple of boxes of cake mix and I don't have frosting for it. And even though I have this frosting recipe, which I don't know if I did that on camera or not, with the chocolate powder and peanut butter and honey, and you mix it together until it's like you would frost a cake with, and that's what something that you can put on a chocolate cake. Probably my favorite still German chocolate cake with the coconut and pecan icing. Yeah, and that actually is as easy as getting the mix, and you can get the frosting also, so you don't need to go through the trouble of making it by scratch. It's all in how much time do you have to devote to it, and do you have the ingredients. And I noticed from mix to mix, some of them you need 3 eggs. Some of them, like I was surprised with the that chocolate cookie mix that all it needed was water. Really, I was really shocked. Oh, and the butter, of course. But I'm not going to whip that again. That was really ridiculous. I'm just going to let that sit out because that was ridiculous. And trying to clean, I wasted so much time trying to clean butter from the beaters. You know, and I felt like that was skewing the measurements of that because you got to account for. And one of the things that drives me crazy when I watch chefs on TV doing this, and I know it looks really cool when they have everything pre-measured and it's in its own bowl and stuff. And why they don't, with all the things that they have and all the teams behind it, on the other side of the camera that we don't see, why they don't have those little spatulas right next to them so that when they dump each bowl of an ingredient into the thing that they're mixing, so why they don't take a spatula and clean it out so that everything gets in there. And then when they break eggs, this drives me batshit. I see that so much of the egg is still clinging to the shell. And I'm thinking, you're doing it one handed to show off. And you're leaving all that residue of the egg. And I'm thinking that's like a teaspoon of egg that's still on the shell. See, I don't mess around with that. I make sure to get, first of all, I don't do one handed like I'm showing up anyway. I get the egg uh, onto where I'm in the bowl or whatever. Then I take my finger and I make sure that the egg is totally out of that shell. Of course, it helps to not have the shell totally crushed. And then when I always like to, well, now obviously when you're baking, you can't do this, but if I'm scrambling eggs, I like to fill the eggshell up with water and do that twice for each egg. Now I know that you don't add any extra liquid when you're baking, but I, uh, one of the things that's really got me pissed off is I still have some more cannabis content that I want to make, and I don't want to get the age restriction on the video, which is what YouTube is going to do. And I know that I can do it live on one of those cannabis sites and then just put the rebroadcast on um, here on YouTube. And that way, even though they probably will age restrict it, it won't really harm me too much because maybe I may get to monetize that other site eventually. But the thing is, all these other sites don't have the traffic and the eyeballs that YouTube does. And this whole thing in big tech is they know that they have us, that they have, in essence, created these monopolies, these utilities. Internet is a utility now. It's not really an option. It's not really a luxury anymore. It's something that so much of society and your functioning in society seems to be involving the internet, and that was before the pandemic. It was like this. It's not something, I mean, when every homeless person, you I've known ever since I got my first email address and I was going to all these libraries and community service centers in LA. So much of my life involved making sure that I had some kind of regular access to the internet so that I can go and check my email accounts at least, and just be able to have access to information and be able to contact family and friends without spending money on a postage stamp or a payphone. That was a big thing. And now people, uh, I remember how amazing it felt to have. I went from having to go to libraries in Los Angeles, or occasionally a roommate would have a computer at home and I would have access to that, or I would go to friends' houses. They had a bunch of laptops and a net zero uh, membership. And I remember coming back and forth to Atlantic City from Los Angeles and San Francisco. And I remember sometimes paying for some hours at a cyber cafe. And there was this one that was overlooking the ocean and the boardwalk. It was like on the second floor over one of the t-shirt shops. It's not there anymore. But it was really nice. It was a place, it was quiet, unlike the libraries, and I could check my email and surf the web and do whatever. And it was this nice, quiet place, and they were open till like at least midnight. That's another thing. It was really cool, and but it was great. So I could take a couple of hours every day or so and just. And at the time, Yahoo groups and Yahoo clubs were a thing, and it enabled me to make friendships with people all over the world. And then soon after that, I got the first of my two web TVs, which was a way to get online, but um, they were very easy to jam if you tried to access a site that was very web intensive. I mean, graphic intensive. Like anything they had videos on it. I was trying to build up my MySpace page, and I was learning basic HTML, and I was posting links to pictures of my favorite album art and different things, and in political things. And I noticed that whenever I would go on certain music pages, my would totally get into this crashing. It was just the screen would freeze, and because it was already using a dial-up connection, it was a really frustrating experience. And I remember going through a hurricane where we had a power surge, and it was for during Hurricane Ernesto, and that my second web TV actually had a short, or not a short, but a power surge caused it to malfunction and needed to be replaced. So, but to go from having to go outside for your internet access to the luxury of having at home internet, that became so such a wonderful luxury that now I think most people take for granted. The only time you stop taking for granted, or I stop taking for granted, is if the Wi-Fi cuts out and I'm left looking for a public Wi-Fi situation. And now with the pandemic going on, I remember when I was going from having the wonky, spotty home Wi-Fi to it was getting good for a while. And I think it was partly because all the major internet providers realized that during a pandemic, when so many people are working from home and kids are going to school using their computers and webcams and stuff, so people need their reliable internet and just don't play around with it. So I think that's the reason why it was going well for a while, and hopefully it stays being reliable. Because the last thing I want to do is, especially since I don't have the shot yet. I'm oh, and I heard. Speaking of the shot, I heard from New Jersey COVID scheduling system. They said that they have appointments available near me. Well, where they think is near me? They said Newark, not Newark, Delaware, even Newark, New Jersey. Do you know how far away Newark, New Jersey is from Atlantic City, New Jersey? I mean, this is laughable that they think that that's close. And I'm thinking how long it would take me to get there by bus. because I don't know whether some of those things are not even a bus all the way through. Some of those buses you have to go to New York City's Port Authority first, and then from there go to a bus that goes to that place. I mean, it's ridiculous. You have to take 5 buses to get to a town. There was when I was suing some bad people, and I got myself finally a lawyer. The first time I took buses out to meet her, I had to take like 5 different buses, and oh, it was such a. I wouldn't have minded going through all the effort if it had been a more successful experience. But the fact that I tried to do what I thought everything was right, and I felt like it was just not a very satisfactory experience. It really wasn't. So, yeah. Uh, and I kept on thinking, if it wasn't for 9/11 putting me back on the West Coast, on the East Coast, when I really would have preferred to be on the West Coast, but when circumstances happen and you find yourself in a certain situation, then that's just the way life is. But still, if I hadn't been put here by 9/11 and then uh, helping take care of my father and stuff, I wouldn't have had reason to run into the bad people that I did. Because one thing about living in Los Angeles is when you're going on auditions and different things that involve going for the work, you're pretty much only going to offices in different places where you know that people can't get away with things because it's an office and you never know where there may be hidden cameras and things. So there's a certain safety that you can't assume when you're in a non industry state. And especially when you're letting your guard down because you're thinking that people are using you for a poor man or woman's film school. And there's young kids that are trying to get over because they're trying to get something for free or next to nothing. And I can kind of understand. I definitely can respect people who are being thrifty and frugal. That's something that I find very endearing. And as long as it's not something that can compromise the safety in the situation, um, it's something that I can very often get behind. But still, it was a real interesting situation. And yeah, okay, it is 8:52 p.m. I'm wondering if maybe by 9 o'clock I might not be able to go in the kitchen and lift open the foil and see how done that food is. I can definitely see. Well, the thing is, I'm going to before I'll take 1 or 2 bites of it, but before I actually sit down to actually eating it, I am going to take a couple stills. I was not thrilled with any of the thumbnail pictures that I tried taking for this, partly because of the uh, quality, so to speak, of the camera and the lighting, and also because raw food really is not the most appetizing. To try to make something that has not been cut yet, just the bare components of a dish, and to try to make that somehow look photogenic, that's a challenge. It really is. I can always read books on the subject later about styling food before you even prepare it. I'm sure there are books on the subject, if I really wanted to delve into this. But what interests me about filming cooking is not that I want to become a food chef on TV or something. I always I've always been terrified of the idea of working around food because I thought that if I work around food, I would have no choice but to gain weight, and that was just simply unacceptable to me. That's why I'm really nervous about it's that I have a respect for food. I'm so afraid of going overboard on it. I'm so dedicated to making sure that if I am going to go crazy with the chips and the ice cream this week, then I'm going to get exercise so I can burn off. Then I'm going to lift the weights and I'm going to do some cardio and do some kickboxing or do something. And with the internet, you don't have to worry about having whether you have access to your cable. Before the internet was the only thing that I could really rely on, I was just going the on-demand videos on Comcast, and I was finding the same guys that I was working out to. I was able to get their stuff on demand, and I could get anything that I wanted. If I wanted kickboxing, I could find it. If I wanted leg day stuff, I could find it. If I wanted arm day stuff, I could find it. If I wanted anything that was a specific kind of a workout that I was looking for, or names of, they didn't have a lot of, but they had a nice selection of instructors, you know. So, and the thing is, I didn't realize it was my mother that turned me on to the on demand thing. All these things that are free, just, as long as you make sure that they're free ahead of time, it's really great. But now there's so much that I can just find on the internet, and a lot of the times they do have YouTube videos too. The only thing is that occasionally, if you're trying to follow along with the video, then what happens if it buffers? Because if you're trying to keep in uh, in rhythm with something, and if I'm keeping the time with something, I, it kind of can mess with your ego if you don't keep up. But then again, distractions happen sometimes too. So okay, 8:56. I think I want to get some more tea. I'm really thirsty. Well, nothing more from Wish came today, but I really want to make another Wish video. I'm so happy with the things I've been getting from them. I can't stress this enough. I am very happy with the things that I've been getting. Wish. Okay, let's come into the kitchen. I need some more tea. I'm so thirsty. And I see Tabby Boy going bye-bye. Oh, there's Tabby Boy going bye-bye. Tabby Boy. I see Tabby Boy. I see Tabby Boy. Oops. Oh, Tabby Boy. Come here, Tabby Boy. Tabby Boy, where's Tabby? Where's Tabby? Where's Tabby? Tabby Boy. Psst. Tabby Boy. Oh, there's Tabby. I see Tabby. Where's that Tabby? Oh, where's she at, Tabby? You bastard. You bastard. I'm gonna beat your ass. Oh, look at that. Got him. Got him. Oh. Oh. Tabby Boy and Cassie almost had a confrontation. What's going on here? Oh. 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 Did you see that? All right. All right. All right. And I see two beautiful kitties. Trying to show the kitties without the mess. How can I do that? Let's see. Okay. You see kitties? Kitties, 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 kitties. My beautiful kitties. Right? Okay. Well, I'm going to put this back on the coffee maker. It is smelling good in here. I hope our neighbors are jealous, because what we're making is something nobody can get at any restaurant around here. I'm pretty sure. No. You can't even measure. I mean, I just put stuff in until it looked right. I'm adding another tea bag to the pot. This is an electric pot that has tea in it, and you can see the thing is pretty low, and it's looking like the color light beer, and that's not acceptable. So I'm going to add another tea bag, and then as that gets dark, then I will add more water to it. Oh, look at where Gabby Boy is and where Cassie is. Try to set this shot up. You see Tabby Boy? He's in the chair and she's on the floor. Cassie. Hi, Cassie, girl. You can't hear me, of course. Funny, for somebody that can't hear, she still meows at people. I think I'm gonna go grab Cassie. Oh, meow, 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 meow. Oh, look who's coming. Look who I got. Look. Oh, look at this beautiful cat. Look at this beautiful cat. Oh, 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 that's cute. Look at my kitty. Oh, no. Hey, don't give me your gungy bungees. Don't give me your gungy bungees. You hear me? That's right, you don't. I keep on forgetting you don't hear me. Oh, this Tabby boy is trying to go down the hall. Come here, Tabby. Hey, you're my cat. So, but guess what? Nobody's gonna bully you now because I'm holding you. I'm holding you. Nobody's gonna bully you. Nobody's gonna scare you. Nobody's gonna hiss at you and smack your face or any of that stuff. Nobody's gonna do any of that stuff. Okay? Okay? It's okay. Say hello to everybody, Cabby Boy. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello. Okay, my sweetheart. Mm. My Tabby Boy. Mm. My sweetheart. Oh, my sweetheart, please don't kick my computer off. If you kick it off my coffee maker, I'm going to be very upset. And the live stream will end abruptly. They won't get to see how the food turned out. And I'll have a broken computer, and I won't be very happy about that. Oh, oh, kiss, kiss. Oh, you're giving me kisses. Oh, see, my Tabby Boy gave me kisses. Oh, my baby. My baby. Oh. Shh. Hey. Oh, be quiet. Shh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know. What? Mm-hmm. 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 Let me put you down. I put you down. Okay. Now, wash my hands. I got cat hair in my eyes. I feel like it's stuck on the lipstick. I wish you could smell in here. It smells so good. You can definitely smell the pepper, the green pepper. Mmm. I'll be right back. Okay, in order for me to find out if it's done or not, I have to test the potatoes. Now, according to what the label said on the meat was fairly quick cooking. So, until I take it out and take the foil off there, I can't tell you either, right? Mm. Oh, oh, oh. Spilling it out because I'm not going to turn it off yet till I. No. I thought that after a while you were supposed to take the thing off it and let it brown some, but maybe not. Hold this thought. It, I think, needs another few more minutes because I don't like how there was more push. Yeah, there was more push than there should have been when I was sticking the fork in it. So I'm going to put the foil back on, and I'm going to put it back in the oven. One thing my father used to hate growing up is he used to hate hard potatoes. If potatoes weren't done, that was one thing that really disappointed my father, and he was not shy about making it known. You know, and I can see his point too. You're working hard all day, or whatever your hours are, and you come home. The meal should be on time, and it should be good. My father was a real meat potatoes kind of guy. He didn't get adventurous like the stuff that I was into. My father was a good sport with it, but it was not his favorite. Like all my Asian uh, explorations, my father sometimes, he would call some of them ducky muck, for instance. But my father liked good, filling, simple meals. Oh, crap. I'm a germaphobe, so you know where this is going. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to give that some more time. And now I think my tea will be, I can do something with that. And now you can see Tabby Boy has reclaimed his real estate here on the chair. That way he can keep his eye on her, because he sees that she's giving him the dirty look. And that's the thing, is that she just fixates on him, and she just looks at him like, how dare he sit there? How dare he take up space? I mean, she's really gives him too much of a hard time. Oh, no, I don't want this to fall. Okay. Okay, good. Now that it's got some kind of a color to it, I'll dunk it for a bit. You know what? Actually. I hope that computer doesn't fall off. Oh, I guess maybe like a half hour more or something. Oh, another potato. I see Tabby going. I see Cassie. Look at these kids. I see Cassie. No, I see Tabby. Yeah. Oh, I had some fresh limes and lemons, but they have fermented. So, yeah, not going to do that. Never had them go bad in the refrigerator before. But you know what? I never had them sealed up airtight in a bottle before, so it serves me right. They didn't have air circulation. Let's use the chopstick to stir. Getting impatient to see this finished product. I am too. Not impatient enough to eat hard potatoes. That is just so weird. But you know what's worse than hard potatoes? Eating an underripe avocado. The first time my mother and I had avocado together, we had one, and it was just like eating pieces of wax. It was so disappointing. But we did not have a frame of reference, and she and I looked at each other like, is this what all the fuss is about? It wasn't until I ended up in California where I got to experience what they were like when they were ripe and what they tasted like, and got to learn about squeezing them and feeling how they felt. You know, and that's the thing about life, is you have to experience it for yourself. You can maybe uh, now you can watch videos and read books about things, but there's some things, especially with food and vegetables and stuff, that you really have to get your hands on. You know, and sometimes changing coasts really helps too, because the things that I got exposed to on the West Coast, especially anything involving things like Mexican food, that was really, I was so green and so ignorant about things. I mean, the first time I was in a Del Taco, because I was in a Del Taco long before I was in a Taco Bell, and I had a burrito for the first time, and I thought that that was really a paper towel around it. I didn't realize that was tortilla, and that was part of it, and you ate the whole thing. And I had real long nails at the time, and they were making holes in it. In the hot sauce was coming out on my hands, and it was a very messy experience. But it was funny, and it was definitely something to mention talking long distance to my mother. You know, because that was my first really big trip away from home, is flying to California for 2 weeks the year before I actually decided to move out there. And just, you can have a lot of firsts in 2 weeks, you know, because even though I went there with food with me, I occasionally treated myself to things. And yeah, you never forget your first Mexican food. I never had a burrito in New Jersey. I never, I had to go to California to have my first burrito. Tacos, we knew what they were, but you know, and I wasn't nearly sophisticated with spices as I am now. But that took a lot of uh, life experience in being in neighborhoods that had richer immigrant populations, and being able to go into markets and find the ingredients that you're looking for to cook their recipes, and looking for different kinds of lentils. And I never knew how many kinds of lentils there are. They usually call them dal or mung dal, and they have different colors of them and different sizes and different cooking times. And some are red and they cook almost to like a mashed potato kind of mush. And the grayer ones that I think most Americans are familiar with, they probably take some of the longer time to cook, but they don't really take long to cook. But then there's these yellow ones that are called China doll, I think, and not China doll. Chana Dal. Chana, and Dal is Dal, not Doll. So you know. But there is this one store I used to go in. They had all these different kinds of lentils and all these different kinds of rice. And I was picking rice by the kind of bag that it came in. You can get for as small as 10 pounds and as big as 25 pounds. And I think they maybe even have 50-pound sacks. But the 25-pound sacks and some of the 10-pound sacks had loops on them, and you could actually make handbags out of them. And that was kind of what I was going for, a good quantity of a good rice and also a bag that I could reuse. So, and some, like the kind that they actually call Zebra brand, comes in a burlap sack. I'm sure I've showed that on videos before. The thing is, it's only 10-pound bags, and I really usually get rice in 25-pound bags, because otherwise, what's the point? Especially these 2-pound bags, when you think of how much rice you cook at a time anyway. That is such a ridiculously small bag to have. I guess maybe there are some people that eat rice very, very seldomly, but I can't imagine living like that. You know, I could have rice every day of the week and I wouldn't get tired of it. I have to think about what I would break it up with. I guess I would break it up with days when I would otherwise be heavy on the starches and the carbs. Maybe on the days that I didn't do rice would be days that I would allow bread to excess. And I would find myself some really good sourdough bread or the Kalamata olive bread. And that stuff, when you put lox on that, oh my God, that's dying, go to heaven without the dying part. You know, that was just really good. It's starting to smell really, really good here. What I'll try to do is, because I don't have enough self-control to wait until 10 o'clock. So what I'll do is I'll try to wait until a quarter of, okay? And when it's at a quarter of, then I'll pull the food out and do the fork test on the deepest area. It should be done by then. Oh, this is interesting. Watch my keys. Wonder who's watching who. He doesn't seem to be noticing her, but I'm sure she's not ignoring him. Yeah, she looks like she's paying attention to him. This is smelling so good in here. It really is. I just want to take that out of there and, you know what? I'm going to put this in my room so that I can type some things. What I was tempted to do was, for a second there, it was as if I forgot that I was actually in the middle of a live stream, and I thought that I should go in one or two social networks and mention something about the stream. I realize when it's over, I'm going to post a link to it anyway, so people can watch this as a video like any other video. But it is now 9:42 p.m. 9:45. I'm going to guess that everything is cooked, and I'm going to do the fork test, and I'm going to hope that everything is perfect by then, so that I can show you the final verdict. This is something that has been beloved in my family for years, and I'm guessing to say that it's quite nutritious. It's obviously high in protein, depending on what's in the sausage and how much your tolerance level is for cholesterol and things like that. Because I mean, healthy is relative. Some people would say that things that I make tend to have too much salt in them, and I do like a certain bit of salt to my food. I cannot imagine having to restrict my salt intake. And as it is, I'm definitely aware of not wanting to do anything to raise my blood pressure and stuff. So I won't salt unless I think something needs it. But I just really, a lot of people can tolerate food that has such a subtle flavor to it that I really need to put salt in. I cannot imagine. And there are people that I know that are on a salt-free diet, and I cannot imagine the self-control to be able to tolerate being able to eat food that doesn't have any flavor, which to me is what going salt-free is. I've tried all the Mrs. Dashes in the world, and I'm like, they'd be great with salt. You know, there's those other flavors might very well be enhancements, but it's like those flavored seltzers they have that don't have any sweetener in them, but have some kind of a hint of a flavor. And they're kind of almost like it hits you in the back of the throat, and it's not unpleasant, but you would think if it had at least a little bit of sweetener to it, it would have a carrier to it. It would have a flavor to it, just like any soda does or any pop does. But you need to have both flavors for it to make sense, if that makes any sense. And yeah, but you need to have. I cannot imagine not having uh having such a restrictive diet that you couldn't add salt to things, and even have to, because it's so hard to avoid. Even if you didn't add it to the table, so many of the things that we get have salt added to them, and even then, it's subtle enough that I almost always have to add salt to things. So it makes you wonder about what the salt-free version would be like. And I've had vegetables salt-free. Okay, it is 9:46 p.m. and it is now at 51% of the power. Uh, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some room here in my room, and I'm going to try bringing that food in here to show off what it looks like. Uh, or, you know what? Maybe I can put the computer on the stand-up desk and bring the food over to here, kind of. I don't want to put it on here because this is so rickety. I really don't want to put it on here. Alright, I have to be really careful not to trip over this cord. Okay, time to show off. Nah, it occurs to me, you gotta see this. Because it's almost like, if you didn't see it, can you really trust that it happened? You know? I don't want you to think that I have some little elves or munchkins or slave labor from some other culture that's actually doing my cooking for me. Okay, I'm turning this off. Alright, I'm going to give you guys a real close look now. Hold this real careful. Please. Careful I don't get burned by steam. Oop. This. Sausage, peppers, and potatoes. And yes, this is pork. This is for Ramadan. This is what we infidels eat. And if you like your real pork and pork products, well then, you will like this. And, which is not to say that if you don't eat pork, you can't watch my channel, of course. And certainly, if you're an observant Jew or an unobservant Jew, I would not want to offend you in any way, but, you know, oh, you know what? Bacon would be good crumbled on this too, huh? Wouldn't it? Oh, Tabby Boy is crying. Do you hear? Somebody's crying. Somebody's crying. Oh, Tabby Boy, you're crying. What's the matter? What's the matter? You want to know what Tabby Boy was doing. We're still going through the boxes. Belly Button King, Belly Button King, oh, Belly Button King. Got to show off the navel ring for the Belly Button King. It's the same one as I had the last time, though. I've been too lazy to mess with it. I'm kind of thinking maybe I should treat myself to a couple of new ones, but I don't know. I'm also thinking maybe of replacing some of the ones that have had wear and tear on them. But the thing is, I don't know whether those would be navel rings or whether they would be nose rings that got, like I had the Bioplast that actually had some kind of snaggy. I don't know why it would have. It looks almost like it's splintered off or something. And obviously, something like that would not be something that would be safe to put in a piercing. But for a while there, I was really buying, I thought, a lot of piercing stuff. And after a while there, it kind of got to be like makeup that I had so much stuff. And I'm thinking, unless I go and get something else pierced that needs a different kind of gauge and size of jewelry other than what I already have, really, how much more is there that I can get, especially once I learn about whether certain things do and do not work for me. Like, for instance, I love septum clippers very much, but since I have a deviated septum, they always are going to look crooked on me, so it doesn't make any sense for me to invest in them. They look great on other people, but it's just when you have a deviated septum, you know that they're going to hang not symmetrical, and it really sucks. And I hear the sound of somebody pushing a door open, and I bet it's Tabby Boy. Let me hear if that's Tabby Boy opening. Oh, who's in here? Get out of here. Get out of here. Who's that bad cat? I'll be damned. And the last thing I want is somebody peeing on clothes or something. I have Tabby Boy. What I started to tell you before I heard, uh, him crying. Before, we still have a bunch of boxes of my mother and father's things from storage that we got out recently, and we have to take time. It takes time to go through things, especially things. We have things of my father's and stuff. Thank you. And there was a box of my mother's books from her college days, okay, and from her teaching days, and including some scrapbooks and some things from when I was a baby and some things from when my brother was a baby. And I witnessed Tabby Boy climbing on this. He reminded me of those goats that live on those high mountaintops that climb all over the sharp uh, mountains. And he was climbing on this book, and he was urinating on these books. And I caught him. And when you catch a cat in midstream, they can't necessarily stop right away. But I rinsed off some books, and that's actually possible. And hopefully, if it's not much more than just on the cover, and these are hard-covered books, almost all of them. And I went in the books that are most on top. I took them out of there and I put them elsewhere. And then I found a big plastic lid from a different kind of storage box, because this wasn't in a plastic thing. This was in cardboard. And anyway, I fastened this big lid on top so that it would be next to impossible for a cat to do something like that again. And I told my mother, I said, you're going to have to put your book someplace special and someplace safe, because obviously, what are you going to do about cat urine damage on books? And there is at least a couple of those books that I have interested in that pertain to lighting for theatrical productions. I'm thinking I might be able to learn something that might help with the lighting for my set. And I really have ideas for things. I don't know whether I should go at the Harbor Freight route, or whether I should maybe get some lighting in person at a Salvation Army place or something. Even though one of the things I'm nervous about getting secondhand electronics is, what if it had cockroaches in it or something? Because one of the things I learned when I lived in California is that they are attracted to electronics. And that's kind of that. Oh, that was creepy. First time I was turned on to that, because I wasn't raised with bugs here in town. But when you're in and find yourself in a tropical environment, sometimes you get those things. Oh, I see that. Okay. This is what this looks like. Actually, you know what? I'm putting this on some things that I'm hoping are not going to melt. I need to set this on something so that I can do the fork test to it. All right, this is making me really nervous because right here, my computer is balanced on that tall, skinny thing. These are, if I use these to hold on to this, I'll have no way to grab this. If this should slip, it would be very bad. Okay, I'm going to put this here. All right. I'm going to give you a good look at this. This is my family's. The people who taught my mother how to make this were Italians, okay? I do not have a drop of Italian blood in me at all. But this is easy to make. Use a combination I would definitely recommend of a sweet sausage and a hot sausage. And the green peppers or red peppers, as long as they're sweet. And I almost wonder if I shouldn't have used one more potato in this. So, okay, I am going to plate this up for my mother and for myself. And I'm going to take one or two thumbnails of this. And then I'm going to post the links to the social media. Thank you guys for tuning in live, who are watching live. Belly Button King, thank you for showing up. Richard Knight, thank you for showing up. And oh my goodness, I am actually feeling hot, 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 hot. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like me and my channel and you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? When you do, hit the bell so it looks like it's ringing and you won't miss anything I post. I will talk to you soon. Take care.